Hey guys, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. We're going to be talking to Donnie Cates today because he is in defensive mode. He's getting defensive on Twitter. But the point here is not really Donnie Cates. The point is the point that he's trying to make, which is criticism of comic art after the book is done. It's already out. The art is done, and receiving criticism and how that should go. I think he's wrong on a few things. I understand some of the sentiment, but I don't know. I'd like to know what you all think about it. I have been ignoring a little bit Downcast, which is my comic book, because we already passed the goal. I've been ignoring promoting it, but I've been really, really working hard to get this done. So yeah, we have actually quite a bit of progress, a lot of pages. I don't want to show everything because I don't want to spoil things, but I have been posting things on Twitter. I should probably show some stuff on videos too. But right now we hit 800 backers. This is amazing. I thought if I hit 500 backers, that would be fantastic. That's such an amazing threshold of success. But we actually passed 800 backers, which is seriously amazing. So yeah, we're getting really close to 28,000. If you haven't backed it yet, the link's in the description below. Check it out. All right, so we're going to follow this Twitter stuff backward because I think we'll be able to see more that Donnie has said. And also, you know, we can discuss it a little bit as to if he's right or not. So it initially started, I guess, when somebody somewhere, not in this Twitter thread, said something bad about the artwork on one of the books that Donnie Cates writes. I don't know which book it was, but there was a book and people said nasty things. Now, if you have ever seen that little video segment that Jimmy Kimmel does, the mean tweets, sometimes I'll watch those and they're pretty funny actually, where celebrities are reading mean things that people have said to them on Twitter. Yeah, that's funny. This is the same kind of thing. The thing is, though, the level of celebrity in comics, like what is the biggest level of celebrity that you can be and be a comic creator? I mean, it's not that big. Stan Lee was the biggest of the big, I think. He was, he famous, but for other, for his movies too, for the movies and cameo appearances and all that kind of stuff. That's a level that I don't know that is going to be ever achieved again. But comics today, someone like Donnie Cates, who is probably one of the best well-known writers. There's a slew of artists that are, up there for sure. But for him to get mean tweets tweeted at him, I'm sure it could be frustrating. But at some point, like, where do you get separated from your audience? Where are you far enough away and you're big enough that you should just expect that that's going to happen? I get mean tweets. I don't know. I relate to this a little bit because I did get some criticism. I guarantee you Donnie Cates gets much, much more. But I have had some public criticism. It was nasty by some guy who calls himself SJW Eunice. So we lovingly call him SJW Anus. But anyway, I digress. Point is, people can have all kinds of motivations when they're criticizing art or books that you work on. On Twitter, it's near impossible to know what their intentions are. If they're actually critiquing, if it's a review, if it's just mean-spirited and they want to make you feel bad. It's hard to know. But there's some things that you can do so it's not going to hurt your feelings. One would be just to ignore it, especially if it's something that you can't do. I mean, you take it in, but when I say ignore it, I mean you don't have to address it on Twitter. You don't have to. You don't have to swat all those flies. You just let it happen. You're going to hear it. Maybe you'll make some changes. Maybe you won't. Maybe they're wrong. But that's up to the artist to decide on what they're going to change or not change. So yeah, but all of this is really interesting stuff, and it's always been, and seems to be an argument or a battle that comes up every month, like once a month, this thing kind of comes up. Okay, so Donnie Cates is saying, yeah, sure. This is someone saying criticism is not insulting. It's a legitimate free speech, or it is legitimate free speech in the arts. Donnie Cates says, yeah, sure. But maybe don't say it to my face about my friends after the book is done and there's literally nothing your critique can do about it. Okay, a few things here. If you at somebody on Twitter, if you tag them in at Donnie Cates, your book sucks. You could do that. That's I don't know. Like, how would I'm trying to just think. If I put my book out and somebody did that to me, I'm expecting that that's going to happen by at least this SJW anus guy, at least that guy. I'm expecting that it's going to happen, that you're going to hear critiques, and probably even mean stuff, only because, man, on my YouTube videos, there's always the one comment that is a personal insulting comment. And I just expect to see it. It's actually, I don't know, it's comforting in a way. That enough people have heard the video that there's going to be the one guy that just hates you and is going to tell you that he hates you. So that happens. I'm sure Donnie Cates has a whole bunch of those people because he has a much bigger audience for his comics than I do. All right, so here's the tweet that started it all off. Donnie Cates, dear people who feel the need to insult the art on a book I've done, all the artists I work with are my personal friends. You are insulting my friends. Sometimes things don't need to be said out loud. Okay, well, yeah. So here's the thing. I have no idea what prompted this. This is the first tweet in the thread. We've made it back to the first tweet, and he's upset because it's personal and they're friends. Okay. So I'm comparing this to my own situation, okay? So this guy that calls himself SJW Anus, he started criticizing Nacho's artwork, who is my artist. I've come to be friends with Nacho. He's a good guy. He's very professional. He gets stuff done. I like him. I want to do more books with him. Okay, we'll put it that way. The dude was going through the campaign and specifically trying to find things that he could roast because he's one of those trolls, you know. So he was just trying to find things. So he's found a thing and he was trying to say that the art sucks. Now, he can't say that the writing sucks because he hasn't read anything. Even though all the pages were lettered, he didn't bother to read it and make fun of me for any of my writing. He goes after the artist, and that's usually what happens because the art, you can just look at it at a glance and you have the art. So he was being nasty. I know in my brain that he's just being nasty. He's not going to buy the book anyway. He's just trying to push buttons. So I don't care. You know, like, really, I don't care. Now, if he was saying it to Nacho, I'd be a little bothered because he's just working, man. He just keeps his head down and does his thing. I'm the one that's out there being outspoken, not him. So that would be a whole other issue. But what you can do is just kind of move on, I guess. I don't know how else to say that. You just move on. That's all you can do. In this case, seeing your friend's artwork get dismantled, it depends on how it was dismantled. So he responds here again to his own tweet. Donnie Cates says, also, your eyes are broken. All my books look dope. I don't know that I've seen any books from him that really look terrible. I think they look good. The art looks good. But what are they criticizing specifically? I don't know. I don't know. And then, so a lot of people are responding, and you get a slew of people. People review books. Okay, this person's saying, I review books. If the art isn't on point, I gotta say it. So here's the thing. Criticism can be for two things. If you have an editor, the editor's criticism is for you to apply to your book. If you have customers that are reading your book's done. So you're not applying it to the book that's already in existence. What you're doing is you're applying it to future books, right? The biggest thing I can think of is, you remember when The Dark Knight came out? The Dark Knight, the problem I had with it, I loved that show so much. Loved it. Except one thing, and that was Batman's voice. The gravelly voice that just went too far. Now, in Batman Begins, I thought he did a good job with the voice. And I realized, in the comics, he's trying to disguise his... Anyway, I just didn't like the way that it was done. It was just too much. It was comical, and it became a meme. Okay? So that that movie, no matter how much you complain about it, that movie's not going to change. It's done. You can't go back and change the movie that's out there. That's ridiculous. What they could have done is in the third Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, they could have gone and said, hey man, let's tone down the gravel in the voice, Batman, and not be so meany. They didn't listen to that. That's their decision, whatever. I probably would have enjoyed it just a little bit better if it wasn't so gravelly, but that's just a little thing. And generally, I love The Dark Knight. It was a good film. Okay, so something like this, when you're receiving criticism from a reviewer, if someone's reviewing your book and they criticize it, that review is not really for the creative team. The creative team could tap into it and listen to it and learn something from it, but reviews are for the customers. If you review a book, that is intended for customers, so they know if they're going to be interested in this book or not. The best kind of reviews are ones that show you, hey, this is the kind of story that you're getting. These are some of the flaws that I saw, and were they hard enough to get over? And then they'll give it some kind of a review. I give it 4 stars or whatever. And if you get used to a reviewer and what kind of taste they have and what they like and they don't like, you might decide that reviewer is going to be accurately stating what you want to read. A lot of the times they're wrong, and you're going to read the book anyway. If they hated it or if they liked it, you're not going to like it. That's the way that reviews work. But reviews are not for the creators. So I haven't seen reviewers that actually tag in the creators. If you do that, that's kind of weird, honestly, because your target audience is not the creator. Your target audience is the customer. So reviews are a totally different thing, and you don't have to read reviews. If you cannot handle reviews of your own book, then don't read them. You don't have to. I think it would be good to read them because you could apply them in future endeavors, but not necessarily. Anyway, so that kind of vague statement sparked this whole thing, and a lot of people are, oh, is that about me? Is that about something I said? Yeah, so there's kind of a lot going on here. So if I go back to Donnie Cates, his Twitter account here, it continues. So either way, say it. Why say it to me? Yeah. Well, or here's the response here. Grape Skoda says, well, are they insulting the art or your friend personally? Is it a personal attack or is it about the art that they're insulting? I don't know. I can tell you put your heart and soul into art, and if somebody eviscerates it, it doesn't feel good. But, I mean, if you're at a professional level, you have to expect that that's going to happen. Okay. And we'll continue here with the Grape Skoda. And are they actually insulting or just giving an opinion that doesn't happen to be 100% positive? Well, that's a good question. So Donnie Cates says, either way, why say it to me? That is Twitter for you. The fact that you can say it, it's weird if you think about it. Never before in history have you been able directly to communicate to the creator that easily and just say, hey, your book sucks, man. I don't know. But at the same time, this is the water this is the water that you swim in. This is what is going to happen. If you're putting your work out there and you're on Twitter, you're going to hear about it, no matter who it is. Let's see. Eyes are broken. Let's go up here a little bit. And then he started blocking people, apparently. Sure, a lot of people are trying to get blocked today. Happy to oblige. Okay. I don't know that that's the right route, unless it's, again, they just going after you personally, and the art is just a way to get you there? This is now signaled to everybody. This is just a social media thing. This is signaled to everybody that this is a sensitive topic, and so trolls are going to go after that and push that button. You got to be careful, man, what you say, where you show that your weaknesses are. Okay, so here's another one. We get back to the point of talking about it versus talking to Donnie Cates about it, or directly to the creators about it. So he says, yes, privately to your friends or on a podcast or in a review or something, like say whatever you want. I'm assuming that's what he's getting at. And then he says, there's literally no reason to ever tell me. So this is one side of the argument, that reviews are not for the creators. Reviewers, consumers are not for the creators. The creators are going to live in a different world. And I can see that argument on some level. You're going to be looking at the sales. Those are kinds of metrics that you're going to be looking at as a creator, and those are going to determine how well your book is going over. You're also going to be looking at what your editor says. You're going to be looking at what your creative team says, and those are things you're going to be directly applying to the process. I would imagine if there's a massive backlash for all one single thing with your book from your consumers, you're probably going to listen to that. If there's one rando person, one of those 12 people on Twitter, that has a problem with something very specific that they say is problematic, well, are you going to listen to that? Does that matter? Should it matter? I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on if they're right or not. I don't know. So I'd love to know all of your thoughts on all of this. I find it interesting that this topic comes up so often from professionals all the time. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you hadn't yet, check out Downcast. Wow, I'm fumbling here. Check out Downcast. It is in the link in the description below, and maybe we can get it over to 28,000. That's really not very far away. We're only maybe 6 backers away. That would be great. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.